Welcome. Welcome to Courses for Spirit. I'm Jeremy.
Mike.
I'm Mason.
And so today we have a subject that Mason brought up. How did you title it, Mason?
Let's talk about, like why would you want to be honest? Or like what does it mean to be truthful to you? Or why do you want to live in truth? What does it mean? What does truth mean to you? But yeah, like why would someone want to be truthful in any circumstance?
Yeah, that's a good subject.
But yeah, okay. So I want to talk about the truth. And I mean, why I thought about we could all talk about that today is I just think it's a good discussion, and it's I feel like the philosophy of the truth, or the idea of the truth, touches on almost touches on everything that we do and we think kind of every day, all day. And I just found in my personal life, incorporating the truth in what I was doing, whether it was talking to someone or going to work or whatever, it seemed to help. It seemed to help somehow. And it seemed to help when I talk about other people, or talk to other people about that. Seemed to get validation. It seemed to make sense. I seemed to say the stories out loud. And another discussion that we're basically having is authenticity. I find truth and authenticity are hand in hand. They're almost the same, but they're different. And then if you don't think of it as truth, if you think about it as living in authenticity, like what does that do for you? How does that feel? And can you see any tangible results? Does it produce any material in your life? Like, is it worth it? Is what I'm asking. Yeah. So I wanted to introduce some of the stuff that I notice in my life and see if anybody else notices it, and talk about some things for people to try.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds cool to me. Sounds really good. Should we start off with a meditation just to help everybody settle in?
Yeah. Let's start with the meditation. Okay. So, making yourself comfortable, whether you're sitting up or laying down, and noticing your breath with your eyes open or your eyes closed. And when you're ready, taking a big breath through the nose and out through the mouth. That's good. Just settling in. Big breath in and big breath out. And in this point, we're going to step into a different portal. So if you imagine in front of you, there's a different sort of doorway, a doorway to your honest self. And now this doorway can be any shape, can be any size, can be any color. And while you're sitting or standing or laying down, take a moment just to sit in front of the doorway. And when you're ready, invite the doorway to come towards you. Just a little bit. And as the doorway gets closer, you can feel the light, the crackling light, or however you experience it, moving through your cells, moving through your fingers, moving through your body. And so have a look around through this doorway. And if you want, you can just barely put your head in. So you're just having a look around and noticing the different sensations that arise. And take another big breath. And when you're ready to step into this doorway, or take a moment to invite the doorway to go through you, go all the way through. And when you're through the doorway, this is a doorway of truth. So this is the doorway of honesty. And have a look around. Notice how life is different with honesty all the way around. And when you're ready, go back a little bit so that the doorway is, you're half in the door, you're half out of the door. And then notice the difference between being in the doorway where you're sitting in truth, and then the doorway being outside of the truth. And playing with this back and forth. And if you choose to, you can stay with the doorway of truth in front of you. So you're looking almost like a looking glass, or looking into a looking mirror. Or if you choose to, go all the way through, so that you're totally on the side of truth, where everything in your world is lit up by truth. And while you're looking around, noticing how things are colored differently, how things are lighter, or things are brighter. And then when you're ready, take another deep breath. Going to the place that you're most comfortable with in this doorway. Whether you're fully in the doorway, you're just looking.
He's gone through the doorway. That's what's happened. He'll be back. He'll be back. That was really lovely. So if you're still in that meditative state, and you can just take another deep breath and enjoy it, and enjoy the view through that portal. And wriggling your toes, wriggling your fingers, and you coming back, your eyes wide open. back in the present moment. All parts of yourself gathered together here. And Jeremy's back. We were just saying you must have gone through the portal.
I think I did.
I think the wind blew the door closed there, sir. But if you want
Yeah,
to continue, you can. That is good.
yeah. And so we can often just sit in this space wherever we are. We can just sit in the moment, just observing. So making sure that we connect with our breath and connect with our bodies, and then decide whether we want to peer in through that door, go all the way through the door, or observe it as if you're looking at a mirror through the looking glass. And so that's the meditation for today.
Lovely, thank you.
Okay, that was great. That was wonderful. That was good, Jeremy, because it's like I think if somebody's considering, I imagine if someone's considering telling the truth about something, or someone wants to get something off their chest, that'd be a really good exercise for giving a person control, you know? I mean, maybe before you tell the truth about something or admit something that's hard, or you've been thinking about telling the truth about something for a while, maybe if someone did that practice or that meditation or that guided exercise with their own concept, like it might maybe warm them up to the truth, or gives them some control over the truth. Yeah, because sometimes the truth can be really uncomfortable, but I like it for that reason. I like it for that reason. It was a cool control, like sense of control in, if the truth can be hard sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, we've got this phrase that people say in England. You might have it over in Canada and maybe in other parts of the world where people will go, "Well, to be honest," and then they tell you something.
Oh yeah, we've got that here.
Yeah, I was
I've
just
heard
thinking,
that.
yeah, and to be honest, blah blah blah. Why do we do that? And maybe it's because telling the truth all the time. There's a part to see. One of the things my mum always she lived by. She said, "Look, if you haven't got anything nice to say about anyone, just don't say anything."
Yeah.
You know, so there's that as well. You know, if we went around being completely honest all of the time, I think that could be really interesting. But I also understand why people would find that slightly concerning because there's a certain amount of diplomacy in getting on with other people. So maybe
Yeah.
when we're talking about the truth, we're talking about when does it really matter, and when under what circumstances is it really important to be honest, to be honest with yourself and honest with others. That's kind of I would think that's where my mind's going with it.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool. My- when you're talking about that, Mike, what's going through my mind is, okay, is there a difference between like, truth and opinion? Because sure, if I just went off spouting my opinion about everything, I'm sure I'd run into difficulty like quite quickly. And even in today's climate, social climate where things just feel kind of volatile right now. Um, but so yeah, maybe there's like my opinion, but then I don't know. Also, when I'm talking about truth, maybe another part of the discussion that we go into now is truth always seems to have some kind of a feeling to it, right? Truth is like some type of guiding compass, some metric in this world to discover what's right and what wrong, what feels good, what doesn't. I mean, if you look at outside of the sky right now, you say, is the sky blue? And it's like, yeah. And if you say, is the sky pink? Is the sky red? And it's like, no. Like, if you sit on that, you could feel the difference in your body, like between truth and like non-truth, you know? So I think that's a layer of truth that you could examine if you're trying to decide, oh, like should I say this or would this be helpful or would it, does this come from the heart or does it come from the ego? Does it come from the mind? You know, and sitting on these things. Yeah.
Yeah, because delivery of truth also. For example, when somebody is with, I know in relationships, there's often truth can be tricky when, if it's opinion wise, the opinion style. Like if somebody's wearing a dress or clothing that you find isn't appealing on them, then it's how you deliver the words. So it's like, instead of saying, "Oh, you look, that doesn't look good on you," maybe using other words that would be more gentle, like suggesting, "Oh, wouldn't this, actually, I really like this, I really like this outfit instead, or I like that outfit instead." Do you know what I mean? That
I,
sometimes when people
I
are,
think so.
or if there's a speech, somebody gave a speech and it wasn't a good speech, and then instead of saying, it was a horrible speech, even though I do have some friends in the UK that they will say, "Oh, that was horrible." They'll just
Yeah.
be outright honest in that way, like, "Oh, that was a horrible speech." But to soften the blow, so to speak, so to try and encourage somebody, then it's, where you're having to choose your words more carefully and crafting them in a way that maybe preserves the feelings of others. Is that maybe part of the a trick maybe of being able to use speech that, because you're thinking about somebody's feelings, and so
Hmm.
to preserve the feelings of somebody, then that's where your wordcraft has to be better, I guess. So being able to be honest, but in a way that is kind to the person, unless they're open to whatever,
Yeah.
unless they're open to the critic.
Well, you can't really make hard hard and fast rules for any of this, can you? Really? Because I mean, in that situation where if I was just about to go out of the house or go to an event and my partner said, "Oh, I don't like that shirt on you, change it," there's a part of me that really is pleased with that because we've built up trust over the years where I'm like, okay, she's probably that's probably good advice, even though I kind of like that shirt. Do you know what? What the heck? Let's try. I'll try something different. So there's a certain amount of, trust and honesty go together, don't they? I mean,
Yeah,
if you find out somebody's told you something that is they've known it wasn't true and they've done it several times, then trust gets broken, and without trust, you can't really have any kind of meaningful relationship. Things without trust, boy, we're so it's life becomes so miserable. You don't trust yourself and you don't trust the people around you, which is maybe one of the things that we're seeing playing out across the globe as well, a breakdown in trust. And maybe it has become really blurred for people, the value of being as truthful as you possibly can. And what you guys are talking about also is really important as well, is like we can't even know if we're being honest or truthful unless we know the difference between our own opinions, the things that we just believe, and the things that we can say are 100% true.
I, I mean, it's like sure, it's good to be honest, and it's good to try to tell the truth whenever you can. But then this this part of life comes up where you don't know like maybe what the truth is. And so now you're seeking, and you've got such strong opinions, and you don't know how to decipher like, is what I know is real? Is what I know the truth? And now you're just kind of seeking. But yeah, I don't know where I was going with that thought, but I'm just thinking like I keep thinking about like analyzing yourself and like where is the delivery coming from? And maybe we'll try it in the meditation when we close. And it's like just being honest with just being honest with like yourself. Do I mean that? Do I mean what I'm saying? Do I do I really want to vote this way, or do I really want to vote that way, or do I really want to believe in this or not believe in that? And then ask yourself, like, where does that come from? Did that come from something that feels truthful? Did that come from an honest friend? Did that come from a news clip on my phone? Did that come from, and I don't know, maybe just trying to pay attention to what all these sources feel like, trying to take inventory of what all these things feel like, and then trying to take inventory of when you brush up against the truth, when you feel like you've had an honest experience, trying to use everything around you to sharpen your intuition, maybe admit when you've been wrong. I don't know. These are all many practices that I find helpful. Hard to do, but helpful.
Yeah, and quite, often if you take that thing about when you realize that you're wrong about something, you've said something or you've acted in a way that you later on you regret. I mean, you can't always in the very moment that I mean, something happened today. We were walking the dogs on the heath, and we ended up getting sort of tangled up with another couple who had a dog, tiny little dog, and there was this young man who was running across the heath, and he was running at such speed he didn't really want to stop. I mean, he could have done, but he didn't want to, and then he nearly sort of trampled the little dog, and then the lady whose dog it was like sort of swore at him a little bit, and he went, "No, but you were blocking the path. You were blocking the path." And then we're kind of in that situation. We're just thinking, when did this turn into a running track? It's not a running track, but I think later on that young man would be like thinking, "Oh, yeah, actually, I could have slowed down, shouldn't I?" You know, but in the moment you're just kind of protecting yourself, those ego defenses come up as well. So having an awareness of one's own ego, of one's own desire to protect oneself, the ego to protect itself, that can often have us even believing in our own untruths, because we're trying to maintain this sense of me. I'm a good person. I'm the I'm on the right side here. So how can you say that I'm wrong? So we can get tricked. There's a lot of delusion on the planet, isn't there? I mean, it's a tough place to be in terms of sticking to the truth. And I think being as truthful, as honest as you can, as a spiritual practice, as just as a humane practice, I think that's something that we can all just keep on recommitting to.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, for sure. That's a good way to put it, Mike. Definitely. I feel like when you're talking about that, I was wondering about like how is if you don't know if you're telling the truth, or if you're not, or what your opinion is, or if what you said in the moment, whether it was out of anger or whether it was the truth or a lie, it's like if you reflect or ask yourself, like, is that serving me? Like, is it serving me to be honest with people? And is it serving me to believe this? And, some people get caught up in telling fibs or lies out of guilt or shame, or out of just pure strategy, and they believe like that's going to serve them, like, I will not get in trouble if I lie about taking cookies out of the cookie jar. And like I will not get in trouble if I do not admit to this. And so they believe that a lie would serve them. And so I just think if we did if we ask yourself like, is this serving me? Is like the truth serving me? Like does it like why would I want to be nice to other people? Why would I want to tell the truth? Why would I want to care about other people? Why would I want to be honest all the time? You know? And then does that serve me? I think that's also kind of why I'm on about this topic.
It could be interesting, couldn't it? I don't know, Jeremy. I was just thinking, sometimes when I'm in a conversation with somebody, maybe on a doorstep with one of my neighbours, and the conversation's been going on for a while, and I'm kind of like, I've got other things I really want to do because before I have to do something else. You know, would it serve me to say, actually, this conversation is going on a bit too long for me now, and I'm feeling really itchy because I've got a whole load of creative tasks I need to get on with. So I'm gonna end the conversation now. That's one way of doing it, and then I suppose another way is just saying, okay, well, I better get back. I've got to get on. Which is both of them are true, aren't they? I think there's just something about being on. Why would you want to be honest? Well, you want to be honest because look, it's a wonderful luxury in a way. I mean, if you're caught up in a lot of lies and you can't really relate to the people around you without fabricating a story, that's a form of hell on earth. That's a horrible, horrible place to be. And I suppose if we're thinking about telling the truth, if you're in a hellish place, one of the first, actually recovering from any situation is honesty is required, isn't it? You have to go, actually, this is this is really messed up for me, and this is not where I thought I'd find myself, and I'm really, really upset. So that's another place where truth would serve you by getting, looking at your situation and getting real about it. Yeah, what are you
Definitely.
thinking? What's going on for you? What are you thinking? What's coming up for you, Jeremy?
Yeah, well, the ego puts up defense lines and puts up certain images and certain defenses. So certain ways of being that um, are protective of itself. So if we have a certain kind of image or a way that our ego is trying to be, then it will do things to preserve itself and sometimes encourage us to preserve itself by lying. You know, um, for example, there's one example where there was somebody who was fairly close by, and instead of not, and for me, I didn't want to visit. So instead of saying I don't want to visit, instead I said, oh, I actually said that I was at this other location, which was far away, right? So, and that's as in essence, I was doing a kind of not really self-preservation. In fact, I don't even know why I said that. Why I said I know why I said why, but I mean, why couldn't I have just said, actually, I'm I don't really feel like meeting up, and the reason why was trying to preserve a kind of space between us, which ended up backfiring anyways.
Why? What happened?
Um, just that because somebody else who was listening to my conversation ended up hearing that, and then they realized, oh, he fabricates things. So it preserved a relationship kind of with somebody who wouldn't have minded even if I said, look, I don't really feel like meeting up. They would have preserved that. I mean, it would have been fine if I had said that anyways. But when the other person heard me lying about that, then that changed their opinion of me. Does that make sense? That was quite a long time ago.
No, that does
But
make sense.
yeah,
No, actually, that brings a bit of clarity for me because the picture of that in my mind is like, okay, well, if I see you telling somebody something untrue,
yeah,
I'm like, oh, I wonder if you do that with me as well.
yeah.
Yeah. So there is
Well,
something about, yeah, go, sorry, Mason.
that's okay. You were talking. I had the lag. I always get interrupting here, but finish your thought. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's something about being diplomatic, um, but actually, the more that we talk about this, the more I see that actually it's much better just to because I'm thinking about friends I know who actually, if I heard them lying, I know when they're being diplomatic and it makes me smile and I find it's cute and it's nice, you know. But if I saw them lying, if I was to witness them lying deliberately, I'd be shocked. I really would be shocked. I really value truthfulness in my friends and my family and the people I'm around with, and I don't mind it when I can see they're trying to protect my feelings. I actually find that's cute and that's sweet as well. But actually, truthfulness, more that now we talk about it, to me, it's a very, very, very important core thing. It's foundational.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Mike. Something else you said, Jeremy, was like, oh, your plan backfired on you. I mean, maybe, right? So had you told the truth, there would be no backfire. They would have accepted that and, you know, so I think telling the truth prevents a lot of these backfires all the time. Like, oh, then you forgot something, a lie kind of supports a lie. And remember when we couldn't meet up and you have to try to remember why you explained why you weren't meeting up and find with the truth, it's like, oh, you just naturally remember. But I find it prevents those backfirings. It just kind of keeps you clear, smoothing, sailing smooth the whole way.
Yeah.
Um, I was gonna say something else too. Once it was like it prevents those backfires and it well, I don't know, I forget. Maybe it's just because we're on camera. I get fluttery on camera. I just have to think for a minute or breathe for a second. Um,
Well, there's so many different ways that truth can set us free, right? There's a big, um, when we get caught within lies, within lies, within lies, then there's all these layers of dishonesty that are around that can give a different kind of view, and a different experience to life. And that's where the truth will set you free in the sense that being honest has a different kind of power, has a different kind of energy. And so when we're honest, then this truth kind of energy comes through, which can feel very good. It can feel sometimes not great, but there's a certain kind of power to it, a certain kind of clarity that can come with truth.
yeah, that you reminded me of what I was gonna say. Thanks, Jeremy, about clarity and truth. And yeah, it's like it's about that authentic piece again, right? If you tell the truth, it's kind of like authentic. And your example, Mike, about what was it? Uh, someone reflecting back on the dog in the park. I mean, it's or well, your example, Jeremy, or just being honest. It's like the when you being honest can help you insert like boundaries. Like maybe no, I don't want to come over today, and that's being authentic and really honest. I think people feel authenticity really well. I think people can pick up on that. And then, okay, um, so why that helped me in life was when I would say, "Oh, I feel like coming over," or "Don't feel like coming over," or "I don't want to take this call because I've got too many things to do." I found that helped me stop like people pleasing. I guess this term of people pleasing or like fawning or freezing around people. So, and I kind of started to discover it was like this traumatic nervous tick. Like, where did I learn to just people please? And oh, if this person wants me to come over, I'm going to come over. And then, so it's like so easily I would go to someone's house and I'm hanging out with them and I'm doing what they want to do and I am having a good time, but it's it wasn't exactly what I really wanted to do. And then 5 or 6 hours of time can be taken up. When if I had just initially said, no, I have got something really important for myself to do tonight. And because that's the truth, and I could say that from a like a loving place and how we're talking about the delivery of the truth. It's like not that I don't want to hang out with you, it's that I gotta prioritize this, got a deadline by this weekend, you know. Uh that was like, really difficult for me in life. And just with practice, just telling the truth to people, it's really like raised my confidence. And now I have no problem prioritizing myself and prioritizing the things that I have to do. We're all human. Of course, it's tricky. Sometimes I don't, but it's like, yeah, that's what I remembered that I want to say. It can really, it can really build a safe container around you, your boundaries, your truth, living your authenticity. People see that, and people are like, okay with that. I found, yeah. And I found there's no backfires when I talk about the truth. I've heard of Jordan Peterson mention this in a clip of his too, that if when you tell the truth, the reality that manifests from telling the truth, even if it's difficult, is still no matter what the best reality that could manifest going forward. And then you just handle that moment by moment. Like, here's my truth, there's yours. And it's just kind of one moment, one honest moment at a time can really keep you free of stress or backfires or inauthenticity.
Hmm. It can take
That's
courage as well. I think that's another thing that we've comes is coming up for me is so sharing another personal experience. I was in a job. I was a school teacher for 25 years, and for 20 of those years, I was a school teacher in a particular school, and I was also like school governor, which is means you're on the school board, and I was privy to lots of things that I were not exactly not ex- didn't exactly. I, I was privy to people in power saying things and communicating and recording things that seemed to be, in my experience, didn't tally with my experience of what was real. So, you know, when I was leaving that job, I thought I would just be as honest as I possibly could. So, but I crafted that and it was very diplomatic what I said. But I have to tell you, before I went to give that speech with the people in question looking straight at me, all stood there in a row and started talking about saying what I thought was true, that took I didn't really want to do that at all. And that took a lot of courage. So I think there's a phrase, speaking truth to power. That also takes courage. I think that's something to acknowledge. Um, it's a beautiful practice, and it's for me, it's the only way to live. And also, I like to be aware of when I'm struggling with being honest and truthful and authentic. My ego's got hold of me, shaking me about a bit. But I think we also I just want to acknowledge that for people who are committed to living as truthfully as they possibly can, the courage that takes.
definitely commending people for that. The truth is hard and can be ugly, difficult. It's not always just glory, but yeah, the courage. And that's what I was saying at the beginning, Jeremy's exercise of if there's a truth in your life that you feel is difficult. Yeah, I thought the meditation Jeremy led, like approach a door slowly, like invite the door to come to you, like look through the door of truth. Like just try to imagine conceptually what it would be like if you told the truth or acted on the truth in this way. And safely just think about it, and you're safe to imagine it first before you go ahead with it. If, yeah. So I don't know. Like profound, awesome, beautiful,
Yeah,
helpful,
well, often
practical.
in Hollywood, there's tons of lies, right? Lies with the face, with changing with digital art, getting rid of blemishes, changing the face, changing, um, you know, basically there's the whole public persona, right? Public relations, and public relations has this section that is, twisting the truth. And so when the truth is twisted enough, then there's, um, let's say in the big legal world, there's truths that are twisted so much that it affects the law as well. And so there's public relations, which is, um, the whole PR machine going. That's something that if we were to step into that world, how things look can be changed by words and by concepts. And so when we're stepping into truth, our authentic selves, and being authentic, then that can be sometimes there's the where the PR machine is, sometimes it finds a groove where it's works perfectly, and other times it's grinding. And so with my experience with clients that are quite famous, that are in Hollywood, the amount of private things that happen is huge because their public persona is important to maintain a certain uh, a certain way. Like if people saw, uh, let's say, fights, a famous couple, they get into a fight, and then of course then it's he said versus she said, they said versus they said, and then you've got all these things that are spun out of that into the public. And so when battling with that sort of thing, where the PR machine is winding around and around, there's a certain set of things that when truth is told, when someone is honest, then at least they have that happening for them. At least they have the honesty of of uh, of whatever their point of view is. So there's a kind of power that comes with honesty,
Hmm.
even if the PR machine doesn't quite uh, doesn't align with that.
Mhm. Yeah. So for me, from this conversation, one of the things that's become really clear is courage, the relationship between honesty and courage, and also honesty, courage, and the quality of your life experience. because it might sometimes look like, I think we've all given different examples of times when we've been less than honest ourselves, and at the time it seemed like a good idea and maybe like a survival strategy, but it's not something, it's no way to live, really. It's no way to live. We need to be honest with each other so that we can trust one another, so we can just live in peace. The, like in the Hebrew tradition, Satan in the Bible is called the father of all lies. So it's not like a goody goody two shoes thing. It's a very practical thing about, yes, you may be diplomatic, or you may be silent on certain issues, which could be whether your partner looks nice in whatever they're wearing, or, but as a foundational approach to life, it's the courage to be honest with oneself and the courage to be honest with others, and recognizing how that helps you build happy relationships. And what we do know is what leads for a happy life is the quality of your relationships.
Yeah, I agree totally again, Mike. I think relationships are one of them are maybe the most paramount things in our life. And yeah, and telling the truth really nurtures those relationships, I feel.
Mm. Mm. Wow, wonderful. Guys, we've got to 45 minutes, and with our normal kind of structure, we're having a kind of a 40-minute, 45-minute sort of kind of podcast kind of conversation, and then finishing with a guided meditation, and then we're going to go offline. We won't be on YouTube Live anymore, but if you wanted to join us for a non-filmed, completely private chat, we're going to be still on this Zoom link, which you can find by going to coursesforspirit.ca. That's courses, COURSES spirit, SPIRIT.ca, and just go into workshops. And you can just click on that link, and if you're on YouTube Live now, it will bring you straight into the Zoom. So you can always think about doing that. And Mason, were you before we move to your closing meditation? Maybe anybody else got any sort of final thoughts on the conversation today? Maybe Jeremy, and then we'll go to Mason, and then you could take us in with the meditation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of power in truth. Truth truth is power, and how that comes about is different, and how we deliver truth can also make a difference. So we can say something that's truthful, but is delivered in a way that's crafted, in a way that might soften the blow, even though sometimes, to be honest, is the way. And to be honest helps us step into a different kind of stratosphere. That's what I feel, anyways.
Hmm. Good thoughts. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with Jeremy. The truth is super powerful, and uh, just try to find ways it serves it serves you in life. Just try to find ways that it serves you in life. Try to find ways that yeah, you notice the truth, and if if what you're doing's working for you, great, totally fine. It's wonderful. But yeah, if you've made it this far, then you're just wondering, yeah, looking for truth in other ways of your life. We're trying to
Yeah,
reflect on parts of your life where you're could use more honesty, or where you think having an honest look at that would help. So let's just maybe practice that now as a closing meditation. We'll just practice just an inward look. We'll just inward look at ourselves. So with all of these exercises, I'm just going to ask you to get comfortable. So please get comfortable. And right away, as soon as you're comfortable, just notice how you're sitting and notice if you need to adjust. If you're laying down for this, you can. Just if you're sitting up, that's good. If you're laying down, I just invite you to try to stay awake for this. Um, and so just begin to notice, just begin to notice your breath and begin to notice coming into the present moment. Casually take note of your breath and your breathing cycle. Feel this circular motion in your breath without trying to change it, without trying to modify it. Just notice the inhaling and exhaling of your breath. Start to notice the expansion, collapsing of your lungs sitting here or laying down. And just sink into the moment with what's happening in your body. Just notice what's happening as you sit and adjust, what's happening as you sit and pay attention to your breath. And if you need to sink further into calmness, take a bit of a deeper breath. Take a bit of a longer exhale. Take a breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Take a breath in through the mouth and out through the nose. Try to see which one feels more comfortable. Maybe you only want to breathe with your nose. Maybe you only want to breathe with your mouth. And whichever breathing style feels more comfortable in your body, to whatever degree you can feel, go with that. And once you feel, if you feel you've relaxed a little bit further, try to allow your breath to return to its normal pace, where you're breathing just automatically. And while we're here in this space, while you're with yourself in this space, try to take note of the calmness of the space. Try to foster and create a sort of safe space for yourself to sit in now. Try to implement this idea that no matter what comes up for the next few moments, you're safe to sit in this space and just notice what's coming up. And if you're comfortable sitting here, we'll continue. And perhaps if you're uncomfortable, continuing to breathe and continuing to relax and continuing to adjust your posture, working towards comfort. Try to get as comfortable as you can sitting here for just a few moments. And from that place, try to invite your truth into the space. Try to invite what you're thinking about that you feel might benefit from a little honesty. Just between you and yourself, is there anything that you're thinking about? Is there anything that's going on in your life that relates to what we had mentioned today that you would like to bring out and share with anyone that might be a little bit difficult, that might take a little courage to look at? And without trying to use your mind to come up with a plan or a strategy of how you're going to do that or how you feel about that or whether you want to or don't want to feel that right now. Try to just allow that as close as you can allow it to yourself. What is it that you want to do or you want to say or you want to share with somebody, even if it is yourself, that could just use an honest reflection on it? How is this thing showing up in your life? How could you think about this thing more calmly? How could you bring this into the world or into the part of yourself without hurting anyone, even yourself? Is there something you believe in that's difficult to live by? And if there is, why is it difficult to live by that? Is it difficult to tell the truth about it? Is it difficult to hear the truth about it? Is there something right or wrong with it based on what other people are saying or what you're saying? And as you drift into those thoughts, those memories of what is happening around this, about what's right or wrong about this, ask yourself, is what's right about it? Does it feel honest? Does it feel truthful? Does your opinion feel truthful? Do other people's opinions about it feel truthful? Do you feel like you believe in something so much and you just can't convey the concept to others, even if you are being honest? So, so with that, just gently begin to put down what we're thinking about, to pause or rest or place this process down for a moment as we come back to this space with the luxury of only just a few moments to take a look at what's inside of us. Try to feel what you've looked at just now with safety. Try to feel what we just brought up with safety. Try to feel it with confidence. Try to feel it from this space of just looking, thinking, asking, feeling in an honest way. Feel the harmlessness of this. And then I would just say, as we all enter our minds and get ready to carry on throughout the day, ask yourself honestly, was that helpful? Was this helpful? Do I want to be here? Was what Mason is saying is helpful? Was what I was saying inside myself helpful? And whatever your honest answer is not incorrect. It's fine. That's the truth that you can live by. And as you practice what we just practiced, you can begin then to use that process for everything in your life. And so we'll just open up the space again for talking, but you can conclude that exercise however you want, however you feel. You can take from it what you want, and you can implement that again if it was helpful. And so I'd say that's that
Thank you. Thanks,
for guided
Mason.
meditation. Yeah, okay.
Thank you. Thank you. That was lovely. As
Thank you.
always. Very lovely.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah, I really appreciate the way the meditations are improvised and coming in from the moment, and it's really lovely. Really lovely. Cool. Okay, so I know that we've been joined on the Zoom call, so we're going to come off live streaming now. And if you do want to join us, so that's coursesforspirit.ca. Just click on Zoom, and you'll come popping in, and we'll let you in. And so that's goodbye from all of us here at Courses for Spirit to YouTube land.